Alright ladies and gentlemen, switching up a little bit today, I'm starting this video in a completely different place for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Guys, Golden's new site is aoeah.com, so if you want any cheap and reliable coins for Team of the Season to get those blues, where it's 100% safe and reliable with instant delivery, head on over there and don't forget to use Reeve as a discount.
And now, alas, it is the time of year where we discuss upgrades and downgrades. No footballer likes being downgraded, but for whatever reason, say it, not living up to their transfer fee, constantly being injured, or generally just having a really bad season. Downgrades occur on FIFA all the flipping time. Now in this video, I'm going to be discussing most notably worst downgrades for FIFA 18 from the previous installment of FIFA 17. Now I'm pretty sure there's going to be loads of bigger downgrades within like the silvers and the bronzes, but these are the big top end players that we're going to be discussing and their downgraded ratings. I obviously have the reverse of this ready and prepared. The upgrades will be out very soon, so leaving a like on the video would be absolutely awesome, guys. I'm going to be honest with you guys, YouTube is a bit touch and go recently, so any support would be massively appreciated. Comment if you think my list is wrong. Obviously these are opinions and the ratings are subjective, so please try and take that into consideration when you are watching this video. There might be some that you don't agree with or some that you think should be slightly different. The top 10 FIFA 18 downgrades, I would try and do top 10, but I've got the camera in my hand so I can only hold up 5, so imagine that's 10. Top 10 FIFA 18 downgrades.
Okay, so just a small disclaimer, guys, before we get into the top 10 downgrades. For the purpose of this video, all of the stats on each individual card have been downgraded by the amount that I've downgraded them overall. So for instance, if you see a person with a -2 downgrade, every single stat on their card has had a -2 downgrade. And also we're going to go in order of the size of the downgrade, but obviously, as I say, it's subjective. Some might end up getting downgraded more than others. Please just bear that in mind whilst we get into the video. But for the first player, we have, I'm so sad to say this as well, he's one of my favourite players at Arsenal. It's Mr. Santi Cazorla. Sadly, only making 11 appearances for Arsenal in the 2016 to 2017 season, actually getting 2 goals in that season, so that's not actually too bad, but because he's so injury prone and he's actually getting to the latter stages of his professional footballing career, there's obviously going to be a downgrade somewhere here. I thought 86 was a pretty standard rating for the kind of player Santi Cazorla is. His ability is absolutely ridiculous, but I can see him getting like an 84, which is what I've predicted him to be in FIFA 18, just on the basis that he's getting old, his legs are getting tired, and he literally is so injury prone that he barely plays games during a season. So as you can see, his pace has only been downgraded by 1, and this is a real shame to see because Santi, as I say, is one of my favourite Arsenal players, but he's getting old. 84 I think is a fair rating. It's kind of what Juan Mata had in FIFA 17. I think it's a realistic one because the guy is actually still pure quality. He's just never played and always injured. So I think 84 will be what Santi's going to be getting in FIFA 18. And going from one player towards the end of his career to another, we have Wayne Rooney, now transferred to Everton, the boyhood club that he started at, scoring that wonder goal against David Seaman to put him on the path to glory. The kid was a sensation. Let's not forget this, Wayne Rooney is an English legend, a Premier League legend, but sadly of course he is getting old, and that's hence the reason why he's transferred. Didn't really perform that incredibly at Man United throughout 2016 to 2017, and you don't want to see that kind of caliber of player just decay at a club. So moving to Everton is probably a good move for him. Having said that, on FIFA, not quite the same impact that Man United has. Going from an 84, he just won't keep that rating going to Everton as well. So I think an 82 is fair enough for Wayne Rooney. We're just going to pull up some stats for him. So he actually played 43 games for Manchester United throughout 2016 to 2017 season. He got 8 goals, which compared to previous Wayne Rooney years isn't as much of an impact. You can kind of see him tailing off. But fair play to him, he wants to stay in the Premier League. He'll probably do an insane job at Everton. The guy's still got class. Like, let's not forget, Wayne Rooney is world class. Probably one of the greatest players that has ever graced English international football. That's just a fact. But for the purposes of FIFA, 82 is what I think Rooney is going to get. Now you guys are going to see a bit of a theme emerging here. Now we have another player who is getting a downgrade simply because he's old and coming to the end of his career. Another footballing legend. This guy will get a legend card or an icon card, whatever they call it down the line. That is a straight up 100% guarantee. Andres Iniesta going from an 88 down to an 86. Only a 2 downgrade. I'm not going to cut his like flipping ankles off. Let's not forget, this is one of the best midfielders world football has ever seen. So he's still got it, he's just getting older, slower, and he's pretty much on his last legs of his career. So I reckon when you pack Iniesta this year, guys, you're going to be seeing that 86 rating pop up this time. He is 33 years old, let's not forget that. In 2016 to 2017, he played 41 games, came up with 1 goal. Obviously producing a load of assists as well, but for some reason Soccer Base will not give me the assists tally. Good job, guys. Coming to the twilight of his career, not being the Iniesta that was as impactful as previous years. Don't get me wrong, Iniesta is still a ridiculously good footballer and one of the best players Barca has ever seen. But to see him receive a downgrade of 2 isn't in the realms of impossibility. Okie dokie now, boys, we are entering the territory of -3 downgrades. And the first person of which to receive a -3 downgrade is Mr. Wilfried Bony of Stoke. Only played 9 games for the whole 2016 to 2017 season. Once again, out injured as well. Only scored 2 goals throughout the whole season compared to a 0.5 goal per game ratio of his previous career up to that point. That's pretty diabolical for Bony. Don't get me wrong, he might still be a very overpowered Premier League starter card striker. It just depends on what the mechanics are in FIFA 18, whether or not strength is a better attribute than pace. But to be realistic, pace whores are always... It comes back every year. It's like the Christmas party that you never want to go to and see all your family at, but you know, suck it up and accept your fate. Pace Horse will be back in FIFA 18, and that means Wilfried Bony probably won't be as usable as he was this year, but down to a 78 for Bony, and the first of the -3 downgrades for this top 10. But I should mention Wilfried Bony's one is not because of his age. Like, the guy is still only 28. Now we have a downgrade that is without question accurate to a T. This man has performed like an absolute donkey whenever he's been playing for Manchester City. So much so that they've actually gone out and signed the Liga NOS's best goalkeeper for the highest record transfer fee of a keeper in history, Ederson. I am of course talking about Flappy Hands himself, the guy that cannot make a save, Bravo. Now this guy, it should be said, has had a very good Confederations Cup, or when it was played, but for some reason whenever he plays in the Premier League, he cannot save a ball to save his life. He's been the talk of many Manchester City match of the days. I'm still baffled as to why they got rid of Joe Hart. The fact that Joe Hart's now at West Ham is ludicrous. Bravo, however, is very unreliable, and so a -3 downgrade I think is absolutely fair enough. I didn't want to bring him down to a 79 because I thought that's a bit overkill. I'm not going to downgrade a previous Barcelona player by 4 ratings. That's a little bit harsh. And how I mentioned in the intro, some of these downgrades will be based off how they played according to their transfer fee status. Sissoko, our next player in question, had 1 good game, and that was in the Euro final. He was then bought by Tottenham Hotspur for £30 million, or euros. One of them. You're going to have to correct me in the comments on that one. But what a waste of money. Considering the season Tottenham and Hotspur had, and an impact that they made on football just generally in the Premier League and how people perceive Spurs over the last few seasons, this guy had 0 impact to do with that. There was not a moment where Sissoko had been mentioned throughout the whole of a Tottenham Hotspur season, and I'm pretty sure every single Spurs fan does not rate this player. The guy scored a whopping 0 goals in 2016 to 2017. That is right, 0 goals, and he got signed for £30 million. Now, in hindsight, in retrospect, that seems quite cheap considering the current transfer market and how much people are paying for just normal level players now. But 30 million at the end of last season was ludicrous. Absolutely bonkers for a guy of this quality. So a -3 downgrade purely on the basis that he's not fulfilled any potential that he was bought under, like the reason why he was bought. 77 for Moussa Sissoko. I think he might be still quite a good card to use in FIFA, but realistically, not worth the 80 rating whatsoever. Okay, now we have another case of age syndrome. This is another player who is at the very end of his career, so much so that I actually thought he was going to retire as opposed to transfer to Aston Villa. Still remains a gold. It's Mr. John Terrell. He is down to a 79 from an 82. I'm actually shocked that he's still playing football. The guy wants to play football. Chelsea wanted to get rid of him, but he's gone to the Championship side, Aston Villa. So purely on the basis that he's dropped a whole division, he has to be downgraded. Not only this, but we've taken his pace from 34 down to 30. Imagine a candle burning. There's no wax left for this guy. John Terry has no wax left, he just has the wick. Don't get me wrong, he's an absolute English legend, a brilliant footballer, one of the best Premier League defenders of all time. But he's gone to Aston Villa, so it's kind of irrelevant in teams now. Nobody will use him whatsoever. And sadly, that means that he's going to be taking a massive hit to his FIFA 18 rating. He's had a sweet career, so I don't think you complain about his FIFA 18 rating card, but a -3 I think is realistic for him. He might get a -2, -3. I was on the borderline for this one, but John Terry down to a 79. And here's another centre-back that's killed his rating off just by joining another team in a different division. Pepe going from Real Madrid to Besiktas. Now, that's a transfer that nobody expected whatsoever, but it does mean that I think Pepe is going to get a -3 downgrade. Didn't really do much either for Real Madrid last season because it was obviously Varane and Sergio Ramos as the centre-back pairings, and that's pretty much, I think, why he's transferred, because he just wasn't getting any game time. And now that Pepe's transferred to the Turkish league, I think that's pretty much him done as it goes for teams, unless you're building like a Portuguese kind of hybrid. I don't think people will use him. Beyond this, I didn't really have that much information. I just knew that Pepe going from Real Madrid, whoever you are, no matter what level you play at, you're going to get a massive ratings boost to the Turkish league. No disrespect to them, it's not quite Real Madrid, so I think an 88 down to an 85 is pretty reasonable for Pepe. And then a second Arsenal lad makes his way into the lineup. It's Mathieu Debussy, who doesn't even play a game, which is exactly the reason why he's going down from an 80 to a 77. And what he does, I'm just not impressed with him whatsoever. I used to think he was a brilliant signing when he came from Newcastle. I have my worries now. Obviously, went across to Bordeaux on loan, came back, had no impact in the Arsenal season whatsoever. And I just don't think on FIFA he'll get any higher rating than a 78, 77. I think I've been maybe a little harsh considering he's an Arsenal player, but a -3 seems likely for someone that hasn't played whatsoever. And of course, he is the penultimate player in this top 10. And that means, moving on to our final player with a huge -4 downgrade, Premier League champion, doing videos with Riyad, down to a mid-table club that is massively underwhelming and didn't even get signed by Arsenal. It's Mr. Bloody Riyad Mahrez. Now, I like the guy. Just the difference in how good he was for the 15-16 season. The guy was unplayable, unstoppable, magic Riyad Mahrez, compared to last season, where he impacted very little games, was just like a minimal influence in the Leicester side that salvaged a mid-table finish. So I would not be surprised if Riyad Mahrez is obviously out of the most notable players in FIFA, the biggest downgrade this year. 85 to an 81, possibly an 82 or an 83. I'm not really sure on this one, but I think if we were judging by how he played to get the 85 rating compared to how he played last season, 81 on balance looks pretty realistic. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the top 10 downgrades. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like. Top 10 upgrades will be coming very soon, and I can tell you for sure the top 10 upgrades, the ratings, the sheer difference in ratings from downgrades to upgrades is huge, so you do not want to miss that. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Thanks for watching as usual, guys, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Adios.